A few episodes back, we talked about 4 tips when coming back from running injury. Now, let's talk about the long and bumpy road about actually connecting the dots and running your best times once you've gotten through the initial injury recovery period. These are the 4 essential tips that we'll walk through. 1, you develop mental toughness. 2, you have something new to track. 3, you get to learn the basics and fundamentals. This is a good thing. And 4, you need to follow medical advice. On that last point, we're not doctors, nor do we play them on the internet. So please go see a proper sports medical professional to diagnose your individual problems and needs. Keep listening on to find out about that on this episode of Trees and D Lake.
What is up? Welcome to Trees and D Lake, an audio and video content series by Mike Trees and me, Darren D Lake Runs. Here's Mike Trees, a 50-year plus pro runner and triathlete, on how exactly we want to help you.
The aim of this podcast is to give, in a light-hearted, amusing and entertaining way, hints and tips to help you all run better and enjoy your sporting life more. So let's see how we can go with that.
What about me? Well, I've been running and doing this endurance sport thing for like 26 years now. I've run a sub 3-hour marathon and I've done an Ironman triathlon in 10 hours. Language warning, on a few rare occasions, we sometimes use some bad words to get our point across. Apologies for that. And last point, we do all of that in a super short, sharp, and concise way because
ain't nobody got time for that.
Number 1, which is follow medical advice.
I'm not a medical doctor and I can't comment on specific injuries. Get good medical advice. I mean, there's a lot of medical doctors out there don't like sports. And they say, well, if it hurts, stop doing it. You'll never run again. Your biking days are behind you now. You need to get a doctor who is interested in sports injuries and is keen to get you back running again.
100%. I've had some feet Achilles issues over the last few years, and I went to a very high-end sports podiatrist that works with professional Olympic athletes, and he's like, you're fine, keep going. You're fine, da-da-da. Like, he's never actually, and even my physical therapist, they've never told me to stop. They're like, hey, back it down a bit. If you want to do a hard workout, maybe do that in the pool or the bike for a week or 2. But if you're feeling fine, jump right in and, keep it going. Learning the basics. I'll just give you a quick background. It wasn't even injury. It was more like overtraining, and I did a bit too much, and then I actually ended up hurting my lower back. But what was interesting was I got to go back to literally the basics, and it's, base aerobic, just easy running. I got a bit more time to do more of this podcasting stuff. I felt more energized. I was doing plyometrics. I was doing just strength stuff, going back to the core, really deep, low squats. And I was like, wow. And I feel the fittest. And through that all, I ended up losing a bit of the body fat that I've been carrying over the past year because I've just been training so much and eating a lot and not really finding the balance between eating too much. So I just find that learning the basics, it forces you to learn it when you get injured and, going back. Learning the basics.
But the physios say things like get on and do other exercises. If you can't run, jump on the bike or do something else. You said, I've just run a sub 30 5K. And that was the first time I ran 5K. Up till that point, I'd been doing drills in the gym. I hadn't actually run 5K in one go, and yet I was able to do it quite quickly. Well, the point was, I kept my aerobic base from cycling and from swimming. And so one of the basics is, don't lose that aerobic base. People say I'm injured, so the other way, you often hear it's an excuse. Oh, I've put on a lot of weight. I've been injured. I've not done anything. It means, for example, if you've got a knee injury, you can't run. It doesn't mean you can't get in the pool and swim. If you've got an ankle injury, you might find that you're okay to cycle and swim. There's lots of other things you can do. And so one of the basics for me was keep the aerobic base there.
I'll actually give you a cool example of something new to track. For me personally, I just started tracking my heart rate. And, that's one thing. And then I also tracked it just doing workouts in the gym for minimum 20 minutes and maximum 30 minutes. And they were just like trying to do these circuit workouts. And just through those two things while I was, it was 2.5 months of me basically just taking everything back and putting together some sort of a base fitness. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go back to the gym and I'll go to the gym 3 days a week and I'll track this. And, that became a little game. When I think of mental toughness, I think of David Goggins, and I think that mentality. While I do love David Goggins, I think more people should just suck at the F up and stay hard. But I do think that that's how you cause injury and that's how you cause burnout. So I would say it's a combination of being mentally tough, but also being mentally smart.
I reckon that my longevity in this sport is because I'm actually not mentally very tough. I think my pain threshold's quite low. So as soon as I get an injury, I stop. And so mental toughness to a point is good, but if you're too strict with yourself, you can cause more problems. A pain level of 2 and up to 3 is okay as you're strengthening. He said, but when you're getting to, 3s, 4s and 5s, it's hurting too much, you're doing too much damage. So as I'm getting stronger, there is going to be some pain. And I am just going to have to suck it up. But there's a level of pain that you've got to become pretty smart at pretty quickly. And if you go beyond that, you're going to detract and I'm going to make the bone weaker and it's not going to knit as well.
One is follow medical advice. Get doctors that understand endurance sports and understand you. 2, you have to learn the basics all over again. 3, you have something new to track. 4, you get mentally tough. And is there anything else you want to add, Mike?
You've got overuse injuries, which is classic with running. And most distance runners, over time, they might have bad form and their Achilles tendon is just getting a little bit more inflamed each run. It's not one day, it's not the next day, it's just after a while, oh, it aches. Oh, it's gone off, it aches, it's gone off. And bit by bit, it gets worse and worse. Or their knees, they're getting pain in their knees and it gets worse, their hips or their back. These are overuse injuries. And this is different from my injury was an impact injury. It was caused by a break. So therefore, I know that if I do the right things, it will get better. The overuse injuries could be caused by a bad running shoe or bad running action, running on a bad surface, just too much mileage that the body can't cope with. So often with overuse injuries, you have to change your whole approach and work out exactly what's causing it. And these are more complex to get rid of because they can recur more often.
All right, so we have talked about the 4 key things you'll learn when you come back from injury that will make you a better runner.
I was just going to be smart and work within my own pain threshold, which over the years I've become good at sort of assessing, yes, this is a good pain, I'm on the road to recovery. If you finish the activity, there's a little dull ache, but you go to sleep, you wake up in the morning, it's gone. Well, okay, you're still in control. But if you finish the activity, there's a pain there, there's a dull ache the rest of the day, you go to sleep, you wake up in the morning, it's still there, you've definitely done too much. And so these are the little checks that I do along the way just to make sure that I'm in control and always checking that pain threshold and working within that limit.